This is M-Wire, Movie Week in Review. M-Wire is brought to you by Audible.com. Sign up today to get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/geekcastradio. Start today with a free 30-day trial with over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter at audible_com. And now the latest and greatest in movies with M-Wire.
Hello and welcome to M-Wire Movie Week in Review, brought to you by the Geekcaster Radio Network. I am one of your hosts, TFG1 Mike, and joining me is Steve Megatron.
Hello.
Yes, and Mike the Birdman Dodd would have been here, but the Dark Planet ate him.
Well, he was the fourth element.
Technically, he's the 600th element.
I was saying it's the fourth element. The building destroyed him.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Crushed him in the cave. The fifth element managed to get his finger out.
Oh, boy. Alright, so, as I said, this is, well, I didn't say it yet. We're still in the 90s flashback here in M-Wire, and this is episode 97, and we're going to be talking about the 1997 movie The Fifth Element, starring Bruce Willis, Mila Jovovich, Tiny Lister, and who else is in this movie? I forget. I thought there was one other big name. Oh, Gary Oldman, duh. Commissioner Gordon himself. A villain before he was a hero. When did you first see this?
Probably late 90s.
Well, it came out in the late 90s. So.
I'd probably say I saw it on... first time it was on TV, I would say.
Yeah. Considering you were 11 when it came out, yeah, probably somewhere around 98 or 99, I'd say you probably saw it. For me, I think I saw it in 98 on VHS or something like that. I don't think this was one that I saw in the theaters. I don't think this is one that I would have been able to see in the theaters, actually. Let me just double check. Looking for an edit point, but damn it, what the hell? What's the damn... Son of a bitch. French film covers... It doesn't give the fucking rating.
Nice.
Son of a bitch. Well, yeah, I need to, yeah, I gotta pause this, because I need to find out the damn movie. I don't think I saw it in theaters, but... So, I'm not sure if I saw this in theaters, and I had to actually look it up, and I forgot what the rating of this movie was, because it's so weird. Like, from the 80s spotlight we did back in the 80 to 89 episodes, and now here in the 90s flashback here on M-Wire, it's like, I've gone back and I've watched films that I didn't think were rated R, or that I didn't think were rated PG-13. And this was one of those ones where I was like, what the fuck is this thing rated? Because I could not remember, because it's got, all the violence, and it's not like super violent, but it does have violence, it does have cursing, it does have some brief nudity, not very exposing nudity, but it's got some. And it's like, I was like, did I see this as a 17-year-old? I don't remember. But I know I didn't see it in theaters. So let's jump over to JT from Saskatoon with the Just Effects. He's going to break down the plot for us. And for some stupid reason, there's a Voltron clip in his Just Effects. I have no idea why. But anyway, we'll be back after this.
What?
Just found a picture of you.
Oh, how do I look?
Like shit.
Must be an old picture. Listen, you gotta bring me in your hack for a 6-month overhaul.
Negative.
ASAP.
I don't need one.
Hey, you forgetting who sat next to you for 1,000 missions? I know how you drive.
Finger. I drive a cab now. Not a space fighter.
Okay, so tell me, how many points you got left on your license? Major, how many points?
At least 50.
You know what? You gotta learn how to lie better. See you tonight.
The Fifth Element begins in the deserts of Egypt in the year 1914, just prior to World War I. A group of alien do-gooders called the Mondo Shiwan travel to Earth to a disguised outpost in an ancient temple where an archaeologist is translating some of the hieroglyphics on the wall. The translation of which describes a celestial event that occurs every 5,000 years that unleashes the Great Evil, a force of destruction that seeks to destroy all life on Earth. The Mondo Shiwan arrive and confer with a priest, one of their human acolytes, while also recovering 4 special stones and a sarcophagus, which when combined form the only weapon capable of destroying the Great Evil.
Form feet and legs! Form arms and body! And all form the head!
However, part of the temple begins to crumble, trapping one of the aliens inside a hidden room with only its hand stuck outside containing a key. The priest takes this key and vows to pass on all that he knows of the Mondo Shiwan and the Great Evil to future generations. The story then skips ahead to the year 2263, where the celestial alignment occurs, releasing the Great Evil, which takes the form of the fiery ball of ultimate burning doom, which proceeds then to head right for Earth. The Mondo Shiwan are also heading for Earth with their ultimate weapon, but their spacecraft is destroyed by a bunch of shapeshifters called the Mangalores, who are in turn hired by evil businessman Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg, who in turn, it turns out, is acting as a proxy for the Great Evil. In New York City, President Lindbergh of Earth is told by priest Vito Cornelius, the current holder of the Mondo Shiwan key, about the approaching evil, urging him to find the weapon before it's too late.
You have 48 hours. That's the length of time it needs to adapt itself to our living conditions.
And then?
And then it will be too late. The goal of this thing is not to fight over money or power, but to exterminate life, all forms of life.
So what you're telling me, Father, there's nothing that can stop this?
There is only one thing. The Mondo Shiwan have in their possession the only weapon to defeat evil. 4 elements, gathered around a 5th. The supreme being, the ultimate warrior, created to protect life. Together they produce what the ancients called the light of creation, able to bring life to the farthest reaches of the universe. But if evil stands there,
then what?
Then light turns to dark, life to death, forever.
When government forces examine the crash site, they recover part of the sarcophagus, which contains what appears to be perfect DNA. They are able to use a healing chamber of sorts at a DNA lab to reconstitute the genetic material, which becomes a beautiful young woman named Leeloo. Of course, after being blown the hell up, Leeloo freaks out when she wakes up and escapes from the government lab she was in. Eventually, she leaps off the building, falling into the backseat of a cab being driven by former Special Forces soldier Corbin Dallas. Though barely able to speak any English, Leeloo manages to get Dallas to take her to Cornelius's apartment, where Leeloo is greeted with much acclaim from Cornelius and his protege David, and then they show Dallas the door before he can get any answers about what the hell is going on. After consuming mass quantities of food and getting an education about Earth from the internet of all things, Leeloo tells Cornelius that the stones were not destroyed in the crash, but were given to Diva Plava Laguna, an opera singer performing on the resort planet Floston Paradise, for safekeeping. And while Cornelius thinks of a way to get to the planet, Zorg meets with the Mongolors, who deliver to him the empty stone case. Upon discovering the stones are missing, Zorg has a mini freakout, but suddenly calms down and leaves, stopping outside to reflect on the situation.
Leave them one crate for the course. All right, warriors. Too narrow-minded, no subtlety. And worse, they fight for hopeless causes. Honor. Honor's killed millions of people, hasn't saved a single one. Tell you what I do like, though. A killer. A dyed-in-the-wool killer. Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough. Now, a real killer, when you picked up the ZF-1, would have immediately asked about the little red button on the bottom of the gun.
Upon returning to his apartment, Dallas is met by his old commander, General Monroe, who informs the sarcastic cabbie that his commission has been reactivated, as Dallas was one of the best of the best of the best, and therefore the one most likely to succeed in recovering the stones. Monroe orders Dallas to travel to Floston Paradise under the guise of him winning a rigged radio contest and recover the stones. But suddenly Leeloo and Cornelius burst in, seeking his help. But before he can get any answers, Cornelius knocks Dallas out and steals his winning tickets, and heads for JFK with Leeloo. After coming to, Dallas agrees to take the mission, following the priest and Leeloo to the airport. After finding them and taking back his tickets, Dallas accompanies Leeloo on board the spacecraft that will take them to Floston. Not wanting to trust the fate of the universe to Dallas, Cornelius sends David to Egypt to prep the temple while he stows away on board the ship. Upon arriving on Floston Paradise, the two try to locate the diva before Dallas is momentarily separated from Leeloo by flamboyant radio DJ Ruby Rod. The arrogant Ruby later shanghais Dallas to the diva's concert performance the next evening, leaving Leeloo to go and search the diva's suite for the stones. However, it appears that the Mongolors have survived Zorg's betrayal and have followed Dallas and Leeloo, seeking to take control of the stones for themselves. They shoot up the concert hall, fatally wounding the diva in the process. Dallas tries to save her and learns that the stones are within the diva's body. Dallas extracts the stones and gets Ruby to guard them while he fights off and kills a number of the Mongolors, destroying much of the ship in the process. While all this happens, Leeloo also has her own troubles with the Mongolors, who got to the diva's room first. It's cool, though, because the internet of 2263 is like the friggin' Matrix, and has downloaded all sorts of whoop-ass into Leeloo, who easily and somewhat comically kicks the Mongolors' asses. Zorg soon arrives searching for the stones as well. He and Leeloo have a confrontation where the slimy businessman shoots Leeloo, forcing her to retreat. Zorg then steals a case that he thinks has the stones in it and sets off a time bomb that will destroy the ship. But after escaping in his craft, Zorg discovers the case is empty and turns around, heading back to Floston Paradise. In the meantime, Leeloo and Cornelius meet up with Dallas and Ruby, who then escape in Zorg's ship. The agitated Zorg heads back to the diva's room, stopping his own bomb on his way in, and begins searching for the stones. However, one of the wounded Mongolors activates a bomb that they brought, destroying Zorg and the ship. The quartet head back to Earth, racing against time as the great evil is almost there. While sailing through space, a wounded and delirious Leeloo surfs the net again, viewing examples of man's inhumanity to his fellow man, which in turn makes her unwilling to fulfill her role in stopping evil. Arriving at the temple, Dallas and our hero set the stones on pedestals according to their elemental symbol, but the weapon does not activate. Dallas inadvertently discovers the stones only activate in the presence of their element. The group scatters across the room, each activating their stones with air, water, earth, and fire, but the demoralized Leeloo refuses to complete the circuit and release the divine light, which will destroy the great evil. Corbin snaps Leeloo out of her funk by kissing her and confessing that he has fallen in love with her over the day's events. Leeloo releases the power of love, which pretty much is what it is, and renders the fiery ball of ultimate burning doom inert, transforming it into a second moon. After saving life as they know it, Dallas and Leeloo are taken back to New York City to recuperate the DNA lab in the healing chamber, where they start to make love, ending the film. Released on May 7, 1997, The Fifth Element was directed and co-written by acclaimed French film director Luc Besson, best known to North American audiences for films like The Professional, La Femme Nikita, and the Transporter film series. The film starred Bruce Willis as Corbin Dallas, Mila Jovovich as Leeloo, Gary Oldman as Zorg, Chris Tucker as Ruby Rod, Ian Holm as Vito Cornelius, and Tiny Lister as President Lindbergh. The Fifth Element received both applause and criticism from critics upon its release. Critics such as Todd McCarthy of Variety described the film as a misfire of a European attempt to make an American-style sci-fi movie spectacular. And critic for Slate magazine David Edelstein said that the movie was one of the worst films ever made, as well as saying it was one of the most unhinged. However, there were also fans of the film, such as Kevin Thomas of the LA Times. Thomas wrote that the film was hard to follow, much like Mission Impossible the year before, but that it was a lot more fun and boasted some of the best set production he had ever seen. And the duo of Siskel and Ebert both gave 2 thumbs up to the movie. Ebert wrote in his review for the Chicago Sun-Times that he described The Fifth Element as one of the great goofy movies and that he loved the richness of imagery that the European-inspired production had. As a result of its quote-unquote cult status, The Fifth Element currently holds a fresh rating of 73% on RottenTomatoes.com. Now, through the film, when Leeloo is speaking bad English, she's actually speaking a completely made-up language created by director Besson and Mila Jovovich herself. In fact, by the end of the filming, they would actually carry on regular conversations using this non-existent language. Not only that, but Luc Besson had been working on the story of The Fifth Element since he was in high school. And you may not have realized this, but hero and villain never meet in this movie. Indeed, Corbin Dallas and Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg, well, that's a mouthful, never speak so much as one word to each other throughout the whole picture. And at the time that it was in theaters, The Fifth Element was one of the most expensive movies ever produced outside of the Hollywood superstructure, and was even selected to open the Cannes Film Festival that year. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I freaking love this movie. The actions, the effects, the set design, everything. Seriously, there isn't anything that I would change about this film, except for adding more Gary Oldman. His portrayal of Zorg is just so much fun to watch that I wish there was an actual scene where him and Corbin Dallas verbally spar for a few minutes. Yeah, that would be pretty good. This has been Just the Facts for The Fifth Element. I'm JT from Saskatoon, and now I'm sending it back to Mike and the rest of the crew on this edition of M-Wire.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now 7 p.m. Time for the news. See you tomorrow for another adventure.
End of transmission.
It's the best show I ever did.
Thank you so much, JT, for those amazing Just the Facts. And I can't believe, and in part of that, he said that this had opened the Cannes Film Festival. I can't believe this was a movie at Cannes Film Festival in 1997. They must have been really desperate.
Yeah.
Because when I think of the Cannes Film Festival, I think of like, kind of like when Dan and I did our Oscars episode. High society, moviegoers and movie buffs that basically put their nose up to the world. Okay, granted, it's not really that, but that's just, when I hear about that festival, that's what I think in my head, and I know it's probably wrong to think that, but, so The Fifth Element, you've got John McClane as a taxi cab driver who is ex-military, and he has to save the universe this time around.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that other than the fact that it's John McClane again.
Did you enjoy watching this movie?
Yeah, I will honestly say that. I pretty much like anything that Bruce Willis is in, for one.
Yeah.
The concept and a lot of the vibes to it were very weird. Almost felt like it should have been in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, it really did. It felt like it was like the Total Recall of the 80s, but modern and with, Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it was pretty enjoyable. I mean, you got all the action in it. You get your brief nudity, and then you've got your flamboyant villain.
Yes.
I mean, so it's all kind of weird, but it's really entertaining with all the action that's going on.
Oh yeah, it is very entertaining. I will say one thing that could have been, I understand why it was so flamboyant, but I think it could have been toned down just a little bit, is the whole Ruby Rod thing. How does Chris Tucker go from being Smokey and Friday to this?
Happy accident?
Unhappy accident, you mean?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I understand the character is needed. I get that. It's kind of... I don't want to get too far into this territory, but to me, it's kind of like blending the whole sexual orientation thing. Because you've got women who are hot for him, and then you've got all these other males that are around him who are the super green crew or whatever the hell.
Quasi-men?
Yeah. This is so weird. I like the movie. I really think it is a solid movie. In JT's Just the Facts, he said that a couple of critics panned it because it was hard to follow. It's not that hard to follow. I think the pacing on it sometimes is a little bit too slow in parts, and it's also a little too fast in parts. But like you said, the action is there. The action is solid. Corbin Dallas, he is pretty much the kick-ass 23rd century John McClane. Oh God, Die Hard 27 in the 23rd century or whatever. Holy crap, I just no. But I love the movie. I think it's great. I think it's really, really weird that Zorg seems to think that he'll be safe once the Dark Planet comes down and destroys everything.
Yeah, that was just weird.
Yeah, that was very weird. What are some of your favorite scenes?
Well, the initial where they're chasing Corbin Dallas at the very beginning, where you have the limo and everything, or the taxi cab, and they're kind of chasing him through his place, and
right,
he's getting out, and then you have several scenes where he's kind of almost falling for Leeloo. You can kind of see, because he's having to race her around all over the place. Pretty much anything with Chris Tucker, and it was funny just because it was so odd and weird.
Yeah,
like it was just so bizarre that it just made it funny. And then you have Gary Oldman. I didn't realize that was him until I'd seen the Dark Knight trilogy, and I kind of went to look, and I was like, holy shit, that was him.
Yeah.
Because he just looked so different in that movie.
Yeah, he did.
It was just kind of hard to picture him playing that kind of a character. I always, when I look at him, I see, his either Harry Potter style look or his, Commissioner Gordon. I mean, I would have never placed him in that film.
Yeah. It's so funny because he's putting on an accent in this film. He's essentially doing a voice, and while I like it and I think it's great, I like you, I was like, I usually remembered him because of this in Air Force One, but it was one of those things where it's weird now watching this movie again and seeing him as the villain, because now and of course, who knows what's going to happen with the Bat franchise in the future, but I hope that whoever gets their hands on it will bring him back as Gordon. I don't know if that's possible with the story that was told in the Dark Knight trilogy, but I like him as Gordon. I think he's a really damn good Commissioner Gordon. And in this, he plays the total opposite of that. At the same time, he's more of a comedic villain. I mean, you get the whole thing where he gets choked and Father has to slap him on the back to have him spit the thing out, and the technology fails him and all that. I think everyone that either has known about this movie or has maybe seen bits and pieces, everyone remembers the airport scene. Leeloo Dallas multipass.
I think this was the first film I'd ever seen Mila Jovovich in.
Most definitely for me, yeah. This and Resident Evil 1. After that, I haven't seen her in anything because I just don't watch the Resident Evil films after 1.
I've seen all of them. They actually get progressively better after when you hit the 4th one. And then you have, of course, a couple of other, Perfect Getaway and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think this is just, and she actually plays roles kind of like this a lot, of the kind of half naked, covered up like action hero chick.
Yep.
Which I find oddly strange.
I guess, I like this film. This film, well, like I said, it's really cool. Was Lethal? I'm trying to think. No, Lethal was 98. See, I know I saw this. I know I saw this film after I had seen Lethal Weapon 4, because I went back and I had watched this, and I was like, "Hey, it's Uncle Benny," because it's the guy that plays Uncle Benny in Lethal Weapon 4 as the Chinese food lunch guy that gives Dallas his lunch. He's like, "Could be important," when he's talking about the message. The same guy. So I was like, what the hell is Uncle Benny doing in this movie?
Nice.
All right. Getting into the cast, we've talked about Willis before here in the 90s flashback, but his filmography is just, it's up there. Most people, obviously, in film will know him from Die Hard, obviously.
Well, that would be his primary one.
Yeah, that would be the one that kind of really set him. That was the one that I think he either left or something happened with Moonlighting where he left that to do this or something. But he started out on TV and Moonlighting. But just looking at his filmography, it's one of those things where he's done so much. Like the Die Hard franchise, the Look Who's Talking franchise, he was the voice of Mikey, and that was so funny. I loved him as the voice of Mikey in the Look. You can say what you want about those movies and how corny and cheesy they are, but having Bruce Willis as the voice of the baby, that was awesome. That was so cool. You'll find this interesting, and you might have to go back and track this down to see where he was in the movie, because I don't remember. He was John McClane, uncredited in Loaded Weapon 1, and I don't remember that scene at all.
Huh.
Loaded Weapon 1 is the spoof that has Emilio Estevez and...
yeah, I know, and Charlie Sheen, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I may remember that, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and watch that movie to see where he is, because I don't remember him in there. Obviously, Pulp Fiction, 12 Monkeys. He was a voice in Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Not surprising.
The Jackal, Mercury Rising. Next week we'll talk about Armageddon with Dan and I. The Sixth Sense, The Story of Us, The Whole 9 and 10 Yards, Disney's The Kid, Unbreakable. I mean, the guy's filmography just reads like, oh my god.
And he's been in a ton of animation, too.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. The biggest thing recently, he was in Moonrise Kingdom, which is something that a lot of people might know him from. And of course, he started his, well, he didn't start his run, but he's in all 3, and yes, I do mean 3, Expendables movies, because Expendables 3 is currently filming and it'll be out next year. He is the original G.I. Joe Joseph Colton, coming out later this month in G.I. Joe Retaliation, so that's going to be interesting.
Yes, it will. He is the definitive action star.
He is, yes. I find it interesting that both he and Dwayne The Rock Johnson are like everywhere this first half of 2013. The Rock has been in like 4, 5, 6 different films, and Willis, kind of the same, where they're just... Willis has, so far, 4 films coming out this year. A Good Day to Die Hard, which already is out, G.I. Joe 2, Red 2, and Sin City
2.
A Dame to Kill For. Yeah.
He's in sequels this year.
Yes. And you mentioned earlier about Mila Jovovich. It's a good thing we go through these actors now here on MWire, because, like I said, I have to look at her filmography, because I don't think I've ever seen Dazed and Confused. I know that's probably a travesty to most of the listeners, but I don't think that movie was for me back then. I do remember her in He Got Game. She was in Zoolander, obviously the Resident Evil movies. Other than that, I have not seen anything with her in it at all. I don't know. It's not that I dislike her. It's just I don't like the movies that she makes.
I've seen her in Fifth Element, obviously, all the Resident Evil series, and then, like I said, the A Perfect Getaway.
Right.
But other than that, I really can't. I mean, I knew she was in like Ultraviolet and some other films. I didn't care to see them, so it didn't register with me.
Yeah. I think it's Kevin, not you, that hates Married with Children, right?
I think so.
Yeah, she was Yvette in the episode Fair Exchange of Married with Children, 1989. It's probably one of Faustino's. It was probably one of Bud's flames that he tried to bring home.
Or somebody that went into Al's shoe store.
Yeah, it could be. That could be. All right, so Gary Oldman. We kind of talked about him a little bit already, but he started I think he started fairly early in his acting career. Yeah, he started way back in 82. Oh no, that's the wrong. I was gonna say, wait a second, he was in The Firm. I don't remember seeing him in that, but that was it was a 1989 The Firm. It wasn't the John Grisham version.
Nice.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. He was he's Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula in 92. Like we said, obviously he's in Air Force One, Lost in Space. He was a voice. He was Sir Ruber in Quest for Camelot.
He's going to be in the RoboCop remake.
Is he really?
Yes.
Oh, when does that come out?
I think this year?
No, it's according to the
film is set for an August 2013 releases.
Then Wikipedia has it wrong on here.
Yes, they do.
14.
Yeah, that was an old screw up there.
Yeah.
I knew it was, but
yeah, that's fine. He was Lord Shen, the voice of Lord Shen in Kung Fu Panda 2. He's in the Book of Eli. He was Tiny Tim, Bob Cratchit, and Jacob Marley, a voice role in A Christmas Carol in 2009. Obviously, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises as Commissioner Gordon. But he's going to be in RoboCop and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's going to be interesting.
He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. He's been in 3 Spyro video games.
I think he helped found them, actually.
I don't know if he helped.
No, he participated in the creation of them.
I was going to say, it must have been the new games, because these are listed 2006 to 2008. Legend of Spyro, New Beginning, The Eternal Night, and Dawn of the Dragon. He's also in Call of Duty, World at War, Black Ops, and Black Ops 2. But again, a guy that most everyone will recognize. Just very, very awesome.
He wins a ton of awards, though.
Yes, he does.
At least, I mean, he's been nominated a crap ton, and then he wins like half out of the ones he's nominated for.
That's because he's such a damn good actor. For some strange reason, and I know you're going to probably punch me through the internet here, but For some strange reason, I always get Tiny Lister and the dude that plays the black captain on Deep Space Nine confused. Because because Tiny plays the president in The Fifth Element, and they kind of a little bit look alike.
No, they
kind of not really, but kind of. Like if you're just doing it like as a just a one-off glance, a little bit. But Tom Lister Jr. He's been in a ton of stuff.
Well, he did play a Klingon in Star Trek Enterprise, but that's about the only Star Trek connection you can make with him.
Yeah,
he was a prisoner of the Dark Knight.
He was. Yes, he was. He was a prisoner of the Dark Knight. He was. Oh my God, he was in Beverly Hills Cop 2. I did not know that. Stuff like he was in an episode. He was uncredited in an episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Obviously, everyone should remember him as Debo in Friday.
If you've seen it.
If you've seen it. Most of us have. Most people have.
I have not.
He was in the Players Club. He was in Wishmaster 2 Next Friday. Austin Powers and Goldmember. He was a prisoner in that movie. Vegas Vampires. For a second there, I thought that said Vegas Vacation. Damn it. But I mean, he's done a bunch of stuff. Just amazing. But the dude can act, and he's one of those actors that you just like. You see him show up, and it's like, oh, that dude, very cool. What else about this film did you like?
Some of the gadgetry that they kind of used, like the replication machine where they built Leeloo.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty interesting how they took a piece of finger from the one creature.
Yeah.
And turned it into her.
Yeah.
Which I found oddly weird.
Yeah, that is a little strange, I will have to admit. It's a little out there, but I guess whatever works, right?
Yeah. You know what's funny though? They got a bunch of sites have, ranked it as like cult classic, the top 20 best worst science fiction movies of all time. The 50 most influential video effect films of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a lot of all-time lists, but it's kind of weird, the ones that it does make. It even made the best and worst summer blockbusters of all time list.
Somehow that doesn't actually surprise me.
And then one website actually singled them out as Chris Tucker's work as the lowest point of the film.
Yeah, it wasn't that good because
he was supposed to be weird.
Well, it is supposed to be weird, but as I said before, it's supposed to be flamboyant and over the top. And Bruce Willis's character in Corbin Dallas, he's pretty much the no-nonsense kind of guy and just one-word answer, and it's like...
John McClane in space.
Yeah, pretty much.
That would be awesome. Oh, wait, that was Armageddon, too. This is the deep future.
Wow. Yeah. Some trivia bits here. In the future New York City, Central Park is the same size as the real one and is in the same place, but 100 feet in the air. That's interesting. The only phrases from Leeloo's alien language that are included in the captioning are Larta, Big Bada Boom, Octa, Sino Octa Gamet. Everything else appears in unknown language or is after it's specified the divine language.
It's
interesting.
That's just weird.
I can't believe the dude that wrote and directed this originally wrote this when he was in high school. Luc Besson.
Yeah. He was doing some kind of serious acid or something. Wow. He was even married to Mila Jovovich.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
At one point. During this movie, actually, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Okay, now this is interesting. And I can't believe that this happened. And I know I saw it in the film, but I didn't see everything that it read. But Corbin's termination notice reads, in part, notice of termination of your contract, effective as of today, due to violation of codes, blah 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 blah. Your engagement with this company finishes immediately for and on behalf of Zorg. So it turns out Corbin Dallas worked for Zorg when he drove his taxi. Though this would have been implied anyway, as in the previous scene, Zorg gave the order for 1 million of his workers to be fired. So you've got the hero working for the villain, yet they never meet in the entire film.
That is pretty sad.
At the time, this was the most expensive production in Gaumont history. That's interesting. At the time, it was the most expensive film ever produced outside of Hollywood. Wow. So, alright.
Wow, they made a spin-off of it.
Yeah,
which
they tried.
Was panned and was created by Activision for the PlayStation.
Yeah, the video
PC.
game. Yeah, the video game.
Back in 2001, and it was met with negative reviews, which is hilarious. And there was a novel adaptation of the spin-off, which I think I'm going to have to obtain.
Alright. So we are the IGN replacement crew. 0 is you'd gnaw your own arm off before watching this. 1 is don't watch this even if it's free. 2 is worth a watch if it's free on TV. 3 is worth adding to the Netflix list. I don't believe it's on Netflix anymore. It was at one point, but I don't think it is now. And 4 is this one's worth adding to the DVD collection. What do you rank it?
I'd say a 4. It may not be the strongest of films, but I would still say that it's better than a lot of sci-fi that's out there, especially ones that are going for the hokiness.
Yeah, I agree. This for me does get a 4 because I actually did have it on DVD when I had my DVD collection, and it's a fun, futuristic, oh my god, what is our future going to look like kind of film. Sure, it's over the top. Sure, the performances, at least on Chris Tucker's part, kind of just take you out of the film a little bit. But it's still a really, really good film, so I also give it a 4. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with our final thoughts. We'll be back after this.
Coming to Grand Rapids, Michigan on September 21st and 22nd is GrandCon Gaming and Comics Convention, presented by Celebration Cinemas. Join us in playing or chatting it up with fellow enthusiasts in a community that understands your passions. Get lost in the adventure of your favorite role-playing game. Admire costumes and art from vendors and attendees. Meet the creators behind your favorite mainstream and independent games and comic books. Check out unpublished games and sneak peek at things to come. You can get all this and more at GrandCon. For more information, please visit www.grand-con.com.
Pixels in the Animation is the next cartoon review podcast series in the Geekcast Radio Network's long history of review series. We've had Transformers, He-Man, and Mask as far as the cartoon review podcasts we have done. Now we bring in TV's Mr. Neil as he and TFG and Mike break down 9 video game cartoon series. Steve Megatron will join us for the Mega Man and Sonic episodes. We will be reviewing and analyzing every episode of the Mario, Zelda, Captain N, Mega Man, Donkey Kong, and Sonic cartoons. You can expect us to go in-depth and also talk about the game franchises that spawned these cartoons. So tune in summer 2013 as we find the pixels in the animation.
This is 80s action sensation Arnold Schwarzenegger. and I'm here to tell you about the podcast I produced called Punisher Body Count. It's the net's best Punisher podcast, but don't take my word for it. Listen to the hosts. Punisher Body Count is a work in progress. To listen to this great show, you can find us on iTunes. Just search Punisher Body Count or come to our website, punisherbodycount.com.
The Pull Bag is the GCRN's place for everything you need in the comic book world. We focus on new and current comics. We're also tackling a few back issues here and there. So join the entire GCRN crew and see what issues the hosts have with today's panels. You can find the Pull Bag on iTunes and geekcastradio.com. Make your great escape into comics.
We are back here on Movie Week in Review, and yes, of course, this movie is on DVD. It actually got a Blu-ray release, but the Blu-ray release got critically panned because the picture quality was so bad, apparently. So final thoughts on Fifth Element, sir?
Overall, I'd say it was a good movie. Good Bruce Willis film. Nice concepts. Kind of freaky. But overall, an enjoyable film.
Yeah, I have to agree. What I like about this movie is, and I know if Mr. Dodd is going to listen to this, seeing as how it can be on the episode, what I like is it potentially shows you that we could eventually see other life out there. Like, because they specifically say that there are other constellations and other planets with other life. And obviously, Agnot and his people, the Monglords, or whatever the hell their name is, Monglors, they are a specific different race. I tell you one thing I do want, though, is I want a paid vacation to Floston Paradise. That thing was awesome. That thing hadn't blown up. That would have been a great hotel to stay at.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. That's what I want. All right. Well, that's going to do it. We only have 2 more films in the 90s flashback, so we hope you enjoyed this episode of MR. I wish you'll join us next time, and we will be continuing the 90s flashback with Armageddon. Get your seats ready for the end of the world, folks. For now, I am TFG and Mike with
Steve Megatron Phillips.
Thank you for listening. Keep those film reels rolling.
Welcome to paradise.
Welcome to Floston Paradise. This is Ruby Rod, your name is. And I will tell you live at 5 the name of the winner of the Super Green Gemini Croquet Contest. The winner will go with me for 2 days to Floston Paradise. So tune in to Radio Cosmos.
You watch it all day, sweetie. It'll rot your brain.
Perfect meal for a perfect world.
Give me the cash. Been here long?
Yeah, long enough. Come on, give me the cash.
Is that a Z140? Alleviated titanium. Newer charge assault model.
Yeah.
Good thing for me it's not loaded.
What do you mean it's not loaded?
Well, you have to push that little yellow button to load it. Take your time.
Oh, God.
You want me to? Okay. There you go.
Give me the cash!
That's a very dangerous gun. Maybe you better let me hang on to this one for you, huh? You don't mind, do you?
No.
You sure?
Oh, take it. I don't need it.
It's a very nice hat.
You like it?
You've just listened to Movie Week in Review on GeekCastRadio.com. If you would like to leave feedback on the show, there are many ways to do so. First, you can visit the website, GeekCastRadio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. Be sure to rate our show on iTunes and leave us feedback. You can follow us on Twitter at GCRNMwire. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. You can email us at feedback@geekcastradio.com. Call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. please remember to tell us the show you're leaving the message for, and your name. So until next time, unleash the geek in you.
In a world, there, I said it, happy,